Don Clemons. I'm here with Better Homes and Gardens Realty Partners, part of Team Clemons Realty. We wanted to touch on a topic that is near and dear to our heart. It's health and wellness during these unprecedented times. We want to take a break from what we normally talk about, which is real estate and the real estate market here in the Oregon. So we brought on Felice Martin. She is a licensed professional counselor out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. Felice, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it. Like you said, my name is Felice Martin. I'm a licensed professional counselor, NeuroCoach and NeuroLeader. And basically what that means is that I help people work through the ground clutter so that they can live the life that they want to live. I also call myself the freedom facilitator, which again, I help people to get free from old baggage and to deal with different traumas that may have come up in their lives.
Yeah. What are you seeing and hearing in your practice these days as it relates to people having to stay at home, people having to not be able to interact with other people, them being confined, maybe taking us through the emotional curve that they go through, being depressed? What are you seeing and hearing out there?
Oh, wow. I'm just seeing it pretty much everywhere. I'm seeing people who are experiencing a lot of anxiety, like you mentioned, emotional stress, depression, just uncertainty, just experiencing a lot of shock. And quite frankly, as a nation, as a world, we are in a space of mass trauma. And basically what that means is that each of us have been placed in a traumatic situation, and now we're trying to figure out how to work through this. I'm being told to social distance and isolating from other people. So it's very important that as we wake up from this state of shock, that we're able to really use skills to help us to maintain a level of mental resilience.
Yeah. What recommendations are you giving to your clients as they come in and they're saying, hey, I haven't been able to talk to anybody or interact or engage? What are some anecdotes that you could give to a client or just our general audience that can help them practice at home during this time?
Yeah. There's a lot of research that says that when we feel rejected or we don't have any connections with other people in our brain experiences that just as it would experience a physical trauma. So number one, it is critical that there's some type of interaction with a neighbor, a friend, someone, and it doesn't have to be in person. It doesn't have to be that one-on-one. We're social distancing, so we know that that's not possible. So what we can do is pick up the phone, call the last, look at the list of maybe 1 to 3 people that you've spoken with last or texted last. Contact that person, see how they're doing, just check in, being intentional about those connections. Even, we're in a situation, but checking on one another. And quite frankly, I'm seeing that a lot. Even, I see people walking. I know, of course they're practicing social distancing, but just seeing people outside more, taking walks, as well as making sure that they have their mask on and things of that nature. But it's important for families to connect, for individuals to connect with a friend, a family member, a loved one. Look at that last list of people that you spoke with, check in with them and see, how they're doing. I think what's most important is that you don't just isolate in such a way that you have no human interaction. And quite frankly, that is a sign of depression. If a person is really isolating and there's no motivation and they don't want to connect with other people, it really can make depression increase. So we want to be very mindful of that. And that's something that, I share with the people that I help, as well as other people I come into contact with.
I do love what you said about, making it intentional and getting outside of your comfort zone. I think that the old-fashioned phone call is okay in these instances. Hearing the inflection in someone's voice, hearing their emotion can help bring you out of a space that you're in and take you to a different space. We've done these Zoom calls, and we've also done Zoom happy hours with our brokerage, with people, with friends. So even though we can't get together physically, we can at least see them and raise a glass, or at least say hi, or socialize in that kind of way. And those have been quite helpful for us. My wife's going through a little bit of this ebb and flow of an emotional trip, I want to call it, because she's also pregnant, and we have a 2.5-year-old at home. And so our whole world has shifted from our norm. So that's the reason I love the fact that we can do this and talk through it. But those are some of the things that I've done. Do you have any specifics besides taking a walk and making phone calls that would help people that maybe are in that depression space at this point in time? What do you recommend for them?
Yeah. And like I said, depression actually it's not only a physical experience, an emotional experience is also a physical experience. So of course we want to watch what we're eating. These are simple strategies, because it's not rocket science. It's really making sure that the neurons in our brain are firing together, that we're able to have that dopamine, then that is the happy chemical, that we're able to have that oxytocin, which is the bonding chemical. So it's really important to make sure that those chemicals are flowing through our bodies. So in terms of, what would I tell my client? What would I tell a person who's experiencing depression? Wake up. First of all, make sure you're going to bed on time. You're keeping a schedule. And then in addition to that, when you wake up, just do something different every day. So for example, wake up, read a book, or even wake up, open up the blinds, wake up, go outside, get some fresh air, making sure it's those simple things that can seem overwhelming based on the situation that we're in currently. But it's just, like I said, making sure you're waking up, you're getting dressed. It can be comfortable to have those pajamas on all day, but it's important to make sure that you are getting dressed. Hey, go ahead and put on a nice shirt. Those are important things that really do matter, because it does release chemicals in our brain that make us feel better, and really know that, I'm going to take this one step at a time. And then another thing that I always encourage, and sometimes it can be a little daunting to even think about, but journaling. And what journaling basically does is it gets all of the clutter in a person's brain out of their brain onto paper, or even if it's you hold your phone up and you can record yourself, it's getting it out of your head. And that's what is so important, to get out of your head and really embrace, this moment that we're in, and knowing that, everything, it's going to get better. Yeah. We just have to go through this for a moment.
Good point. Great solutions for people. I guess the one last class we want to address is, there's a lot of death that's happening out there. Some of it may be an arm length away. Some of it could be 6 feet of separation, or 6 degrees of separation. How do you recommend somebody that is dealing with that and they can't give somebody a hug, or they can't tell their loved one goodbye? Do you have any strategies for them, or just any words that would help them through this trying time?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And you can watch the news and we keep seeing the numbers go up, and it is overwhelming. And then for some of us, if we haven't experienced death or the loss of a loved one so closely, it just maybe looks like a number. But then when you recognize that, these are people who I know, these are people in my life, these are people who I've connected with. So I am grieving because of their loss, because of their death. I'm grieving, I'm not going to be able to talk to them anymore. And not only that, I can't even go to the funeral. So because of, the COVID-19, but a couple things that are very important is to memorialize that individual in some type of way, write out fond memories that you have of this person, so that you can remember that. Give the loved one, the family who's there, give them a phone call. Check in. It is okay. Sometimes we may not know what to say, but one of the things that we can say is, "I'm here for you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to talk about it.
Absolutely. Please talk about it, because just imagine if you lost a loved one, you're isolated, and then people don't know how to communicate with you. That's even more, that's very depressing. So of course it's okay to grieve. It is okay. And grief is it's that whole cycle of life. It's a part of it.
Excellent. Well, I thank you for spending time with us today. Let's leave them with some national numbers to call if they have something that they need to address. You're more than welcome to leave your information as well. Anything we can do to help people that are in the situation, and you're not alone. My family's dealing with it. I don't know. I know other families are as well. So please, Felice, leave us with any information that's going to help us out.
Absolutely. Well, I am located in the Metro Atlanta area. You can follow me on Instagram, and I know you'll probably have that information in the link, but it's Felice Martin LPC. The web site is bhacounseling.com. But of course, list that information. But I did want to share with you guys some 800 numbers we do have, and we'll have those posted as well. We have the National Suicide Hotline, and that number is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. And then we have the National Association of Mental Health, NAMI, and their number is 800-950-NAMI. That's 1-800-950-NAMI. And they also have a text that you can text them at, you can text NAMI, NAMI, to 741-741. So please, whatever you do, know that we are in this together. There are medical, clinical professionals that can do mental health. You don't have to suffer in silence. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. It's been great. And we look forward to talking to you again soon, Felice. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care.